introducing one Irish human. Then there was 2. Then there was 3. And then there was 4. Oh, one of them was vanished. Apologies for the delay. We were trying to stabilize this whole energy of ours, and we're getting there. So thanks very much for everybody joining us here today. I'm absolutely thrilled to get to share this space with my Irish brother and sisters. And I guess yesterday, with a couple of bits and pieces that went down in this beautiful land of ours, I got a bit passionate, didn't I? And I shared a post, and I guess the post is what it struck a nerve, and for me, hit a bit of a pain point. And I think what we wanted to do collectively in this space was speak to not the rights and wrongs, not the labels of anything, but rather the energy of it. And so here we are. So thanks very much for you guys joining me here. I'm not sure how Martina's vanished to, but I'm sure she'll jump back in a second. We have no plan. We have no agenda other than to be love, with love, playing in a field of love. And so we don't really know what's going to happen here tonight. But we're rocking up anyway. And I guess what we'll do is I'll just begin and just pass it around. And we'll take it from there. So yesterday, here in Ireland, and we're going to speak to Ireland because it's our home, our homeland. But I think when we speak in this context, we're speaking to the entire world, and we're speaking to the energy that's basically of change, of it's hard to put words on this, truthfully. So we're just going to talk to the energy of this and see where it takes us. So I'm just going to begin by sharing what I actually shared yesterday. Now, it's hard to explain this. For me, as with anything, when a pain point is hit, that's when we really come out. I've moved through many layers of this since I actually shared the post a day ago. What I said in this post, I still mean very passionately. So I'm just going to begin by sharing what I shared yesterday. The issue behind this is our government here in Ireland were about to go into pass a bill, get a bill passed to legislate mandating people who are only vaccinated be allowed into the likes of pubs, clubs, restaurants and stuff. And I wrote this before anything else happened. And so what I wrote was, "Dear Government of Ireland, please, politely, back the fuck off. You do not speak for me. You do not stand for me. You do not operate on my behalf. My choice, my sovereignty, my free will. If I can compassionately honor and respect the choices, sovereignty, and free will of my fellow Irish men and women to honor and do what is best for themselves navigating these times right now, then I ask, why the fuck can't you? Back off. Regards, enough of this shit." And that grew a little bit and was a little bit contagious about or with both Yvonne and Martina. And where Martin has been invited to join was I took my experience yesterday after sitting with this and participated in a breathwork practice with him, which, as he knows, anything dormant within us is highlighted and out it comes. And so yesterday when I shared this post, I was feeling my own pain point come through, which is in my own world, times, places, spaces where I have felt without exception my choice has been taken from me, feeling like I have had no choice in certain circumstances that now when I look back and reflect on them, I obviously know now that I had. What it also evoked in me was the word very, very strongly at the time was enough. Enough. I don't know how this happened. I don't know how this unfolded, but when I say enough, I felt the entire energy of the land that I live on, about how it has taken us everything to get to this point. And I'm talking about life pre a pandemic. And in that sense, it can be taken outside of Ireland and taken to every single land across the world where we have experienced immense trauma, immense suffering, immense pain, immense suffering, suppression, and the violation of our basic human rights. And so this is where this came for me. I thought of every, personally, as what came up in the session was I thought of every person who has fought for this land, for this freedom, for this particular free state, and my heart was smashing into a million pieces as I was immersed in the breathwork process. I was shown images of something as simple as wanting to go for a meal or a bite to eat with somebody, my family, friends, whatever, and the whole picture of being turned away, pushed away, rejected, not accepted, not belonging, all of that pain come up. Again, feeling it across the board, across the world. I was shown or put into the position then of the person who was having to do this because, again, somebody not feeling that they don't have a choice, that they have to do it, they have to do their job. Again, not wanting to, but feeling that they had to. It was a very bizarre feeling that when I came off and out of the breath work, I was furious. I was absolutely furious, and it took quite a lot to stabilize that, to allow it to move through. And at the bottom of it, at the bottom of that fury was just immense sadness for, I guess, what we have been through as humanity. The point where we find ourselves now, in particular in Ireland, the potential picture that was offered in front of my face of man against man, woman against woman, child against child, whatever way you want to put it, of perpetuating more separation, more disconnection, more judgment, more shame. And again, my heart just broke into a million pieces. And for me personally, just to be very clear on what we're talking about, I am not pro-vaccine, I'm not anti-vaccine, I'm not pro-mask, I am not anti-mask. I am 1,000,000% pro the human experience, the freedom to be myself in a world that it's taken me pretty much decades to get to a place where I kind of like who I am right now. And as I unpack everything that I am not, I found yesterday this situation arise, observing a government that, you know, are in a position of speaking for me as part of its population, and finding myself saying absolutely no, this is not my Ireland and you do not speak for me. I wrote that post because I genuinely am in a place where I don't understand, as I move through this, why, if I can honor the if I can honor everything in you, or at least do my best to in any given moment, why can't you do the same? And my reason for wanting to join with these beautiful humans in this experience was I do not want a world where we go up against each other, we police each other, we govern each other, because fear has pretty much predominantly been the undercurrent of this whole experience. And so here we are. That's how it began for me. And then I spoke with this beautiful man after the process, well, after the actual breathwork process, and he helped me very gracefully land the intention, which is to speak wholeheartedly from my heart, unapologetically, as me, showing up as me in this now moment, despite not particularly feeling fully comfortable in my skin, because we're talking about the unspoken, aren't we? And that's not what we do here in Ireland. And so we decided it's time. It's time to just speak it, just to speak to whatever comes up. So you probably hear 4 different perspectives of the same love that we all have for each other, for our land, for humanity. And I would just like to pass this around to Yvonne and ask you for your share.
Thank you, Melissa. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, when the announcement of this latest story, within myself, I felt, a huge amount come up, and I felt very weary and very jaded and very fed up. Because I think we'll all agree the last 18 months or so, even for some of us who knew exactly where this was going to lead, has been a huge, huge challenge. And it brings up all sorts of fears and, anger and craziness within us. It brings up our shadow. But what I've learned, because this has been an ongoing cycle, we're obviously in a very intense period at the moment, because it's unprecedented, the discrimination that they're trying to impose on our beautiful population, our beautiful country. The earth energies here, the soul ancestry within the people here. Ireland has been hammered out, really. We've had the longest lockdown. We've had very tough restrictions. My own thoughts on that is because of the magic and the wisdom and the soul freaking the land and the people here. But one thing I've learned over the last 18 months, and prior to that, my own journey, everything begins with ourselves. So as soon as I start feeling, they can make whatever laws they want, but sovereign beings can decide how to respond to that, how to react to that, whether to create further division or whether to actually step up and go, actually unify. Let's create unity here and respect everybody's decisions. But for me to be able to do that, I have to be able to find that unity within myself. And believe me, I've been triggered over the last couple of months, and the other day as well. And there's a lot of anger, and it's like, how can people not see this unfolding? And you start to get into blame and victim and blah blah blah. And I realize that if I want to be respected, if I want to be honored for the difference of opinion, the different perceptions, because at the end of the day it comes down to perception. There's a lot of good natured people that have a different perception to things than me. It's not that they're bad people or they're but there's no judgment as such. I was going into judgment. I'll stand up and put my hand up and go, I was getting very judgmental towards people's different perceptions. But there's good people that have different perceptions to me. And if I want to be honored in my perception, I need to honor other people's perceptions, even if it's 180 degrees away from my own perception. And for me to do that, I have to find peace within myself, peace within and unity within myself. And so now, because I was getting triggered seeing people with masks and kids with masks and all the stuff that's happening. And now, instead of me going, feckin' Egypt, why are they doing that? You're out in nature, blah, blah, blah. I just say passion for that person. They have a different perception on things. And, it would seem it's coming from a lot of fear, a lot of, let's call it what it is, propaganda. And misinformation and a certain narrative being, driven home constantly for the last 18 months. And I have compassion for them because they're good people, just, tapping a different perception. So I took myself off into nature when I really got triggered by the latest announcements. Am I angry? Am I passionate? Am I absolutely going to stand in position and say, I am not standing for this nonsense? As a personal individual, as a business owner, I will never comply to this. What laws they make, I don't care what kind of division they're going to try pit people against each other. I'm going to stand in my own sovereignty, stand with love in my heart, and work on any of the shadow work that comes up within me, so that I can stand in unity and balance and a place and a point of perception that's based on love and harmony and compassion and grace, and face whatever's thrown at me. But the line in the sand has been drawn as far as I'm concerned. I'm never going to acquiesce to this, and regardless of the personal consequences. And I do it from a place of love. I want to be a martyr, not because I want to do, make waves. I'm actually quite a shy person. I'm quite a private person. But the line in the sand has been drawn for me, and I'm going to stand up and tap into the lioness within my heart. The other option is just not going to be, this is people up here. It's only the beginning. And, people just, need to look at different perceptions, but we all have a role to play. And I'm practicing compassion and non-judgment. And that's how I'm trying to navigate this. But yeah, of course I'm fearful, and I'm really not happy about where it's going. But I'm going to just create my own little waves, stay in my own frequency, keep my own resonance within me, and just see what unfolds from that, and just follow that. Is it going to be easy? Probably not. But if we stay in our heart, we can navigate anything. So that's kind of my thoughts on it at the moment. I'm in a process like everybody else, but I'm just bringing it back to myself all the time. What within me, because that is the revolution. That is the rebellion. I want my life expression, how I live my life, to be the rebellion that's seeking. That's really what I want. That's what I intend to do. And who knows where that's going to bring me, but the lioness heart is engaged. So here it is. So we'll see. But yeah, so I'll hand it over to somebody else. But that's kind of where I'm at the moment. Yeah, in all the craziness.
Martina, you'd like to go? I'd like to hear from you first.
Oh, thanks, Martin. Oh dear, where to begin? The fire that is absolutely burning inside me is just... Yesterday was just like, it was that final straw that made me say, fuck this shit. Excuse my language. Don't. I don't excuse it because I am being real. I absolutely do not care anymore what anybody thinks of me. I have come to this place that I have done so much work on myself. I know this is all about ourselves. I know that, but deep in my heart and in I need to speak. I need to be a voice for the children and the next generation, because unfortunately for me, 12 years ago, I was in this position where so many people actually do not get the full information of what is going on. Swine flu came, and I trusted wholeheartedly in other people to the detriment of myself, the death of my child. And people may not realize why I have such a stance on this, but it is from personal experience. And the thing is, most people do not think they have a choice. They do not know both sides. They don't know to research. We have been brainwashed. We are lazy. We look for other people to give us the information, to feed us. And sweet Jesus, please, please do your own research. Take a look. We're not all crazy. Maybe we are. I don't care. I'm okay with crazy now. I really don't give a shit. And I have went through like a death process all over again, because I know so many people are going to leave this world. I have had to come to terms with that. I am sick to the pit of my stomach at times, watching what's unfolding from a place of knowing, from a place of doing this inner work. Whether you see it as spiritual or not, I have been given visions. I've been told so many different things that I wish I did not know. And the more I know, the more I realize we know nothing of what is unfolding. And if we don't be the voice for the children and the next generation, if we can't speak and stand in our truth and stand in our sovereignty and be free, accept ourselves. And I know everyone has their own choices to make. I know that. And that higher part of me knows that this is, everyone is here right now for this reason. And I feel I have just been in preparation my whole life for this. And it just broke my heart yesterday to see how we're just taking everything and not standing up, not speaking out. And yes, it would be easier to just carry on with your own life, with your own family, in your own bubble. I could live quite contently, with myself and with my family. I have no fear of dying. I have no fear of anybody else. But I still fear for the kids that don't have somebody to speak for them. And that knowing of what is taking place, as adults, we can't even see maybe what is taking place. And we can't see the chaos because everything's just hunky-dory to some people, and it's really not. It's not. And I know I chose this path. I know everything that has happened in my life has prepared me for what is unfolding. And please, people, I know it's all about us, but at the end of the day, we're still living here as human beings. And it's our choices every moment of every day. Every choice we make is leading us on a path. And are we happy to allow ourselves to be controlled, manipulated? We've seen, and not for fighting, because fighting has never won anything. Surely to God, we all have a belief in something, a higher power, and yet we still can't agree. And this, all I can see is just more division. I see families being torn apart. I feel it within my own family, friends. I feel like a complete and utter outsider. But I'm okay with it. I'm making peace with it because I'm being true to me, true to my heart and where I stand. And like, there's so many other things taking place. The amount of suicide, as I've spoke about before, you know, it's criminal. It's really criminal that we're not taking personal responsibility and doing something. You know, it's all right being, but sometimes you have to take action. We have to do something. And maybe that's why we're here even this evening. I know, you know, even speaking with you before about different things, you know, we all know the love that can be created. We all know the unity that can be brought together. We know it. We know how we accept one another, difference of opinions. It doesn't matter what we look like. You know, it's our hearts that connect us. And that is what I've been doing, is focusing on everybody's heart. I know everyone that's on this planet is playing a part. For us to wake up and see what are we willing to take and what do we want to create. And so I want to create from my heart and spreading love and spreading joy and bringing people together, not ripping them apart. That's not what I stand for. And it's not that I'm not willing to take it for me or for my family and for my children. And if we can't be the voice for them, you know, what example are we showing? So I'm sure there's probably more that will want to be voiced, but for now I'll just take a breath.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Melissa. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you, Martina, my sisters. Thank you, all the brothers and sisters who are watching, who are feeling. I just want to say I feel you all. We are all getting a chance to feel, truly feel. Maybe we thought we felt before, but now we really know what it is to feel your heart. A wide open heart is a very challenging thing to feel on earth. And that's what's been called for here. A wide open heart. I can speak from direct experience as well to brainwashing, manipulation, the control of consciousness. Having been born in Northern Ireland, living most of my life there, I absolutely didn't have any idea that any reality outside of that bubble of what happened and still happens there. I had no idea. From birth, we're brainwashed in church and school and social interactions or non-interactions and conflict and war and fear. And I didn't know any different. I know the power of media. I know the power of continuous negative influence and fear and pitting you against your neighbor, pitting you against a perceived enemy. And this is the oldest trick in the book. This is what has perpetuated humans on their knees for all of human history since the fall of consciousness. It's divide and rule. When you separate and make enemies of your brothers, your sisters, you're easily controlled, you're easily manipulated, you're easily pushed into blaming your brother, blaming your sister, blaming that person who doesn't think like you, doesn't believe the same way, doesn't look like you, whatever it may be. But it wasn't until I stepped out of that bubble, and it wasn't until 28 years into my life that I stepped out of that and I realized that there was something else. So I know intimately how powerful like the control of consciousness can be, and the control, like Yvonne said, the control of perception. I had only the perception that was given me. But following on from what has been said here, and what I feel is so important, and what I learned when I stepped out of that, was to realize that we always, always, always have a choice. Even though our choices may be threatened with perceived consequences, we always have a choice. If you feel like you don't have a choice and you want to get some perspective on it, read the story of Viktor Frankl, read the story of Immaculée Ilibagiza in the Rwandan genocide. Everyone has a choice. There may be perceived negative outcomes. There may be this idea that you do this, you don't do this, something's going to happen. But you always have a choice. And we are sovereign, and we are free. And we are free now. We are always free. But we have to choose freedom. We have to choose it every moment, and we have to choose it within ourselves. And then when it's chosen within ourselves, we have to choose to live that freedom outwardly. So it's not just, again, it's like a combination of what you have said, all three. It's finding where am I not free within myself, and then living that outwardly. So that includes allowing others the freedom to be themselves, even if they see the world completely different to me. But we have to live our freedom, and live our freedom when there seems to be limitation or lack or control or manipulation sometimes will lead to very challenging decisions needed to be made, courageous decisions needed to be made. Letting go of perceived safety measures, or what we believed, like governments and all of these things, they're just an outpicturing of the disempowerment of ourselves. In awakened, enlightened societies, yes, there are councils, yes, there are beings that have certain skills, but our governments and our outpicturings of what we've collaborated and co-created in consciousness is a giving away of our power. Tell me what to do, tell me when to do it, tell me when I can do it, how I can do it, tell me and help me to do it. This is another thing. Disempowering and taking away, and they know better, or I need to be told what to do. And where we are now, and you can feel it in the fire and the passion of these three beautiful sisters, and that's representative of our dear land. My heart is in Ireland, my body is not there, but my heart is always in Ireland, and it always will be. But it's what's happened now. We've come to a point. We were in a lull. We were in a, you could wake up, or you didn't have to. You could just live your life and just go through the motions and do what was, quote, normal. People think they were going back to normal. It was never normal. It was abnormal. But now we're at a point where we are in a mass awakening. And everything that is coming up is squeezing the consciousness to a mass awakening. And it has to, sometimes, like I know the stories of each of you three, and anyone watching this, we all know, every one of us pretty much, to get to a point where we are now questioning things, we've had to be squeezed, we've had to have loss, we've had to have death, we've had to have a breakdown of our body, something has come that has just squeezed us so much that we thought there must be something more. And we start to question, we start to look outside, and we start to look inside, and that's what takes us on the road of spirituality. Now, as a collective, we are collectively being brought to this mass awakening, through this squeezing, through this constriction, through this likening. I talk many times about the coal, the pressure being put on the coal to produce the diamond. So this is where we are now, and the choice is, there's always a choice. First, you must know that you have a choice. And again, I want to just say that I had no idea for the first 28 years of my life that I had a choice. But if someone had come and told me, they step into that bubble and they tell me, what are you doing? You have a choice. Why are you not making it? That would not reveal that to me. It has to be revealed within the person themselves. You have to get to a point, like so many are at, like listening to you. You have to get to a point where you've had enough. You're sick and tired of being sick and tired. It's gone too far. It's the straw that breaks the camel's back. There's a point where you just say no more, and you have to look for something different. So I feel what is important is to know that everyone will go through that in their own time, in their own way, and it will never be influenced by another, unless on some grander scale there's an agreement and that trigger comes, but it will always be your own choice. No one wakes someone else up. Only you live your freedom. Only you live what you're aware of, what you know, and by your example. That is, I feel, the action. That is, but you live free and you speak free, and you live in alignment with the freedom and what you believe, and you live it in your daily life. You live it in your inner world. You live it in every thought and every word, and then you live it in your outward world, because you live freedom regardless of circumstance, and you know that no one can take your freedom. Freedom is within. No one can give you freedom. You are freedom. So we're being squeezed, and we're at the point now where this mass awakening is occurring, and it's messy, and it's going to be painful, and it's going to be challenging. And we've been talking about this since 2017, the shadows of humanity that are coming to the surface. And I don't want to be a doomsday, but we're literally scraping the surface from what I've been shown, what I've seen, what I have felt. So, but we're here and we're ready for this. We're here because we chose to be here, and we're here because we have a unique set of skills and abilities gleaned from many worlds that will allow us to move through this. And we have already moved through this. It's just in the physical reality. What is happening is a delayed reaction. If you are free, you are free now. If you are free and you choose to be free, you are free now, regardless of circumstances. So this is what I'd like to share. And I just want to say again that I feel you, and I am inspired, and I'm enlivened, and I am so happy to be chosen to have been born on that sacred land. And I just want to thank you three and everyone else that is there, that will go through this and are going through this, and we are together. No borders. I think it's like exactly 100 years ago. Was it 1921 was the Republic? Was that, maybe my history is not right, but I think it's 100 years ago now. 1921 was the Republic of Ireland, wasn't it? It was 1916 was the Easter Rising, but I think I wasn't that great at school, you can tell. But yes, that's how I'd like to share for now.
Thank you. Thank you to all of you. I'm not going to lie. At one point yesterday, I kind of felt a bit like William Wallace, you know, on that hill up in Scotland. You may take our lives, but you may never take our freedom. And then I was like, let's calm the fuck down. Because I understand something. This isn't a time for war. This isn't a time to go to war. We've already done that. Everybody has gone to war with themselves. That's how we're here now.
Mm-hmm.
Not taking accountability or responsibility for anything that's not right in our worlds. Putting our heads in the sand. Leaving claw marks on things we should have let go of, whatever it might look like. And I want to share something because I'm hoping that in my understanding, this is just my personal perspective. This is just me. I love what each of you said. For me personally, I would never have been aware of the power of my choice had I not been able to recognize and accept what it is I had just pretty much lived through. And that's going to be everybody's individual life experience. And so to recognize when you're in a position where it feels like your back is to the wall, where the energy of I have no choice comes into play, or fear dominates. For me, feeling safe, the need to feel safe has been at the crux of everything I have learned the hard way. The need to just simply feel safe. And so I wrote this 2 days ago, again, not really having any idea what was going to come the day after, or even the situation right now. And this is what I wrote. What hope do the next generation have if this one doesn't get its shit together and soon? We are a generation traumatized. Another generation craving love, safety, acceptance, and a depth of authentic connection that we have almost destroyed ourselves beyond recognition in the process, just to get a glimpse, a taste of, a fragment of. Fleeting, always temporary. We have inherited the pain and suffering of each and every generation before us. We are the descendants of unacknowledged and undealt with trauma until now. Humanity has been taken to its knees again, showing us all the places we abandoned and disowned our life force, the places where we became depleted, diminished, the living dead. The floodlight is upon us now, highlighting everything and anything not honoring or in alignment in our worlds again. Demanding, not asking politely anymore, that we stand the fuck up and also honor all that it has taken to get to here. All that you have gone through to get to this now moment, to learn from it, to grow from it, to do things differently now, because we can. To be heart-led, doing the opposite of what the mind has commanded until now. To honor the journey of all that we traded our sovereignty for, our authenticity for, the love that we are for, just to make it to this very second. On that journey, we traded everything only to come to know and live repetitive cycles of indescribable disconnection, soul-destroying separation, the presence of so much control that we completely lost all memories of who we actually are, which in turn has walked hand in hand with the profound loss and grief that has haunted us to this very moment. We forgot what love looks like, real love, true love, self-love. We have fueled this generational separation, perpetuated this generational disconnection, gone to war time and time and time again with ourselves, only to lose more and more of ourselves to the cycles of the past, because it is all we have known and lived. Experiences repeated over and over that guaranteed the annihilation of our innocence, our spirit, our will, until now. Now we remember. Our remembering is our gift. Our awareness is our gift, and our freedom from our perpetuated history. And yet, what good is this remembering if we dismiss our deep-seated truth when stood toe-to-toe with our old story? Do we remember the truth of our being, the truth of our knowing, the truth of our core, or instead default to relive our trauma, pain, suffering all over again? This is more than an awakening. This is a dismantling everything we are not, remembering everything that we are. The double-edged sword we clung to while taking off the armor we have so desperately clung to for safety. In this dismantling, we are simultaneously remembering who we are while taking down everything that we have remembered we are not. As Susan Grace so wonderfully put it today, allowing ourselves to shatter into wholeness. Generations perpetuated cycles of trauma unknowingly, but your remembering shows you the opposite. So this ends now with you, should you choose. We get the choice to rewrite our history, create portals to walk through as whole, healed, aware, loving versions of ourselves now, so that the next generation coming behind us won't have to endure what was knowingly ours. the reason I wanted to just share that is, and to loop me right back round to Scotland and William Wallace and his message of hold the frequency, hold the frequency of love, be love, flood the goddamn fucking world with love. Each and every person is experiencing this point in their lives right now through the lens of their history, and the lens of their history told them they are not safe, they do not have a choice, they will be rejected, they will be whatever this history told you. It's no time for war, it's a time to hold the frequency of love. And the action step when in a position where your back is to the wall is to remember that, is what I'm about to say love speaking or fear speaking? Is what I'm about to do going to add to this pain or take from it? Is how I'm showing up, sharing, whatever it might look like, again, adding to this now, or taking me further away from it? And I don't know, I don't have all the answers by a long shot, but I do know that I cannot commit to holding the frequency of love. I cannot commit to holding the frequency of love and fear at the same time. The only place I have any power is in this now moment, and in this now moment I choose love. I'm not saying I'm immune to being triggered or playing full out, but when the fire comes up in me, my awareness of myself, like each of you talked about, of the amount of pressure that we all came under as individuals in our lives, and we are no different from each and every person watching this right now. The pressure we came under caused us to say enough. And so I just wanted to share that, so that when we're in a position, and we will, I will, you will, where we forget we have a choice, that we take a breath, be here now, and ask, what would love do? That's it. Yvonne?
Beautiful, Melissa. Just beautiful. And, you know, yeah, it's always to kind of bring it back to ourselves. Always, always, always. Like you said, is this from a point of love, beginning with ourselves? And the other thing I'd like to say, I mean, it may seem like there's a huge amount of darkness, you know, between all these tyrannical developments within Ireland and across the globe. It's everywhere. I've been speaking to people in different countries, and it's happening everywhere, you know. So we're all kind of experiencing levels of this, and it'll get more intense, and it may seem very dark and, you know, very scary and all of that. But, you know, we live in a duality experience, and my own personal experience is, yes, there's all this darkness, and it's very important to acknowledge it and, you know, not spiritually bypass it. It's important to kind of realize it, because a lot of people in the New Age movement just want to concentrate on love and light, but you have to focus on every experience, the darkness as well as the light. But it may seem like it's very dark at the moment, but my own personal experience is that there's incredible potential for creativity, for expansion, and how we do that. And I've lived this through my own experience, and the guys will know my very recent experiences. You know, so I'm living this, I'm embodying this myself. But there's huge potential for us to really create expansion and love and joy and playfulness and laughter even in the midst of all this absolute craziness. And our task to accept it is to really focus on creating that resonance in ourselves, looking at everything within ourselves, cultivating that expansive source energy within ourselves in whatever way you feel guided to, because there's many routes to the same experience. So whatever you feel called to, but cultivate that within ourselves, create that resonance within ourselves. And guess what? That will come to you then with ease, with grace, without it having to be difficult, without it having to be a big drama. If we understand the power of who we are and the infinite potential that we have, and we just remember that, because we've become so disconnected from that, but if we just remember that, we can really start to birth in and create a magical, magical place to live, and even in the midst of the darkness. You know, and I mean, history is littered with examples of people in huge adversity, but still manage to create beautiful experiences within that. What Martin mentioned there about the genocide story, you know, so it's just to remember that. And the most important thing, I think, right now, keep a goddamn sense of humor.
Yeah.
Because do you know what? It's crazy and it's mad, but you know, sometimes I just laugh. I just laugh and say, do you know, it's just an experience. We are infinite love, capable of so much potential and so much of everything. Let's just laugh at the craziness, you know. And one of the things I'd love to do is, maybe if we were to do a protest, just get everybody to laugh hysterically. Because if you're laughing hysterically, standing outside the buildings of government or wherever it is, when you're laughing, you can't hold the frequency of fear and distress and stress. It's a beautiful vibration. And just laugh and not take things too seriously. You have to just really keep a sense of humor and be playful and just go, do you know what, this is just a ride and let's just take it all in. You know, so that's what I'd say to people, is to remember your potential, and you know, just laugh sometimes in the face of all this adversity and darkness and tyrannical things that are happening. Just, you know, just remember who you are, you know. So that's my little tuppence. So maybe Martina, you might like to say something.
Yeah, just when you were speaking, Melissa, just a few things that came to mind was, I was having a conversation with the girls, my young girls, in the car one day, and we were speaking about an incident where, you know, there was a fight and people were turning on one another within a family. And, you know, I'm always trying to help them to see the good, or to see what has taken place maybe in somebody's life, that maybe they don't know anything else. So I was having this conversation anyway, and, you know, I'm always trying to teach them that. But what the girl said to me was, yeah, that we hear you, you know, but mommy, we've all had trauma. We have all had adversity in our lives. We've all had something that hasn't been pleasant. And what they said to me was, that does not give you the right to treat other people like shit. And I said, you're so right. You know, they were starting to teach me where maybe I had given my power away. And then I started to see, growing up, different times where, you know, I had been manipulated, I had been controlled, I had, you know, it just brought up so much that I hadn't actually seen for myself. And it was all about, you know, seeing both sides, but I was trying to show them the good and trying to help them to see the love in everybody. But also, they were not willing to take anybody's crap, and they were going to stand for what they believe, which is absolutely perfect for what's taking place right now. And they said, you wouldn't allow us to treat anybody badly. And I said, no, you're right. I wouldn't like it. And but that doesn't mean that we have to take it from anybody else. And I, in fairness, what they were sharing was just so enlightening for me also to take a look at my life. And while just on Pentecost Sunday, I happened to be in the chapel and I had a massive spiritual experience. I don't even know why I'm sharing it, but I'm going to share it anyway. But the Holy Spirit showed me lots of different visions of what was going to take place. And I was asked to close my eyes, and the tears just started to stream down my face, and I was shaking. And I was asked to shine light and spread love to everybody, every building, everything that you think is bad or that you have an opinion that you think is dark, to spread love and spread joy and humor to everything, because that is going to lift the vibration of the planet. And just like a pebble is dropped in a pond, that ripple effect that has is huge. And you do not know, by even sharing a kind word with somebody, how that can change their life and the lives of everybody around them. So I was shown just and asked to practice it while I was in the chapel, to anybody that was there, to spread love to them. And that is going to lift and raise the frequency and the vibration. So I just wanted to share that, because I know this isn't really spiritual, but it is. And by doing that, as you said, you can't hold on to that fear, because you are feeling it. You're feeling love, and you are sharing that from your heart to others. And that is what is needed. It's so needed right now. And I know people say, I don't know how you can spread love to such and such. And believe me, it's difficult for me at times too, when I'm triggered. But it's just to remember and to come back to that place of your heart that knows what to do. But of course, we have had plenty of practice through our own hardship and pain and suffering. And miracles do happen in your life when you allow that to unfold, when you embody it. And although it looks like the world is just a mess right now, there's so much amazing things taking place as well. And we mustn't lose sight of that we are creating fantastic, loving communities and spaces for us all to thrive, and be accepted for who we are. So, I just wanted to share that. Just that the kids maybe listen to them, because they have that wisdom that maybe we didn't have either when we were younger. And it took me nearly 40 years to cop myself on. But it's amazing to see and listen to their conversations as well, and know that they're not going to take it. Hopefully. Please God. Yeah. Martin.
Wow. So beautiful. And I just like to just continue with that. That I just feel so weirdly excited, weirdly like empowered, ready, knowing we've prepared for this, knowing like we talked about on our individual journeys, it always takes some big moment to take us to a point where we come to a breakthrough, and that's happening for so many people now, whereas before it was like a relative few. And it takes, in a dark room, it takes a tiny little candle to light up the whole space. It's not, and the light doesn't fight the darkness. You just light a light and the light is there. And so I just feel really enlivened and ready and inspired and excited, and know and see and feel what potential this brings for every one of us. And as long as like these beautiful sisters have shared, is that we take our own, where we have power, the only place we have power, within ourselves, within this moment, within this now, how we choose to act, how we choose to respond, how we choose to be in the world. Are we responding to fear with fear, or are we responding as love with love? Because there's fear on, I don't even like to say this, but just let's say there's a splitting of sides, but there's fear on both sides. And if we remember, like Yvonne said, if we remember who we are, fear cannot touch us. You can't scare someone who's not afraid to die. When you've already died over and over again, there can't be any fear. When you know that those apparent others or those enemies are a part of you, then you will act differently, even if they disagree with you, like the white blood cells in the body. We are one being, and the white blood cells will come to the site of a wound and heal that. And the parts of the body that feel that, there thinks that there's something wrong, or like we talked about before, like in the butterfly and the caterpillar, whenever these imaginal cells are beginning to awaken, the body of the caterpillar tries to attack them. They are the seeds of the butterfly, the seeds of the awakening, the seeds of the raising of consciousness. But what happens is what the status quo, or what wants to stay the same, what doesn't know any better, like me in Northern Ireland, let's say, it wants to stay the same, and it will seem to attack itself. But we are one body, one being, and it is our evolution. It is our opportunity now. But we cannot make a decision for any other. We cannot shift the timing or the way in which another comes to their realization. But what we can do, like Martina said, like we can live by our example, and they can see through us, and they can see and feel something different, and they can see where someone maybe would normally respond with like an attack or a defense, where you don't need to, because you know it's just a part of yourself that is forgotten, and you act and you live with strength, with purpose, with passion, with courage as well. It's not inactive. It's not that you don't go forward, but you know that you'll go forth with love, and you will act from love, not in response to fear with fear. If you need to defend or you need to attack, there's always fear at the base of it. Love does not need defense. Love does not have war. The light doesn't need to fight the dark. The light lights. The light is its natural essence is to illuminate the space. And I love those laughing protests. I think I want to go to one of those. That's amazing. And yeah, the other thing, of course, because we're talking about Ireland, that is one of the gifts of the Irish people and the Irish spirit for the whole world. It's that laughter, it's that lightness, it's that music, it's that dance, it's that making light of dark moments, it's that not taking ourselves too seriously, it's taking the piss and being genuinely deep in looking at our hurts and our dark, but still being able to have a laugh, still being able to see through it. And if those that identify as light workers or way showers, if we really knew who we were, we really would be laughing at all of this, and not laughing in derision, but laughing and knowing the power of that, and knowing that nothing can hold us, nothing can stop us, nothing can put us in a hole, only ourself. And we're no longer doing that. We're no longer following that. We've passed the threshold. So I say, Era Abu.
I don't know if anybody's seen the protest last night, but everybody singing and dancing, and it was just amazing. The energy just raised the vibration. It was just amazing, and it gives you such hope and faith when maybe some people had lost it. And it's magical to watch. In some countries they're fighting, where in Ireland they're singing and dancing.
We've done enough. We've done enough of that.
Yeah. Yeah, we have.
There's no coincidence that while the four of us are here tonight for this, there are another group of Irish people congregating outside of Áras an Uachtaráin tonight for again to send a unified message. Just to wrap up from my perspective, I'd just like to say, if we could all be like a lighthouse, hold your position, just be you. The waves are going to come. The weather's going to change. You can't do fuck all about it other than just be here now. And what I would just love to see moving forward, I'm going to do my best to be an example of it as best I can, is that each of us, while we ride these waves, is to have compassion for ourselves, what we have been through, where we find ourselves in this now moment. Have compassion for your brother, your sister, for what they've been through to get to this now moment. Have compassion for a world that has pretty much led or let fear lead it. And we all know how that's worked out for everyone. So let's try love. Let's try the opposite and see how we go. I don't think we could get it wrong. Yvonne, we can't hear your sound. I can't hear you now. That's what I'm talking about right there. Frequency, be love. No words needed. Feel it. Oh, I love it. Look at the t-shirt. Yvonne's got her goddess t-shirt on. I'm wearing my county colours on ARV. Martina, do you want to pick up then when Yvonne's checking out her sound?
It's the silence, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe that's the sign.
Yeah.
In the silence where you find so much peace when you come back to that place. Not to get pulled in, not to get dragged in to the drama that's unfolding, and to come back to that place where you can be free, you can be at peace within yourself, because it's very easy to get drawn back into that space, and it takes determination, it takes a little bit of work and commitment to yourself, but knowing that is where the peace is within you, and that light is within you. So let's beam it.
I'd just like to quickly say, because it's something that I've been doing and had huge benefit from, to really take time, just like what Martina was just saying, take time to unplug from all of this, unplug from social media, turn off your phone, turn off the TV, go speak in person with people, really actually get a feel for what is going on, because this technical world is amazing and it's beautiful, and this technology has brought us together in ways that have been so beneficial, but there is also a flip side to it where it can be manipulated. It can absolutely influence your emotional responses and affect your mood. This is not, you know this, everyone knows this now, but we use it, it's a tool, but I find it's really, really important to completely unplug from that as often as you can do it, because I've found it been really beneficial for me. So, yes.
Just want to say thanks. Just want to say thanks to each of you guys for rocking up here tonight. I really love sharing space with you. For each and every person that's shared comments, thank you. And yeah, remember, like Martin said earlier on, we have a choice. And yeah, so until next time, as Martin McNicholl says, the divine in me sees, honors and loves the divine in you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Erabu.
Bye.